Success doesn't start in the strategy. It doesn't start in the marketing, it doesn't start in the metrics, and it certainly doesn't start in the hustle. Real, rooted, sustainable success starts in the nervous system. Because if your body doesn't feel safe, no action will feel aligned. No amount of effort will feel enough. No external validation will ever quiet that internal static that says, am I okay? Am I behind? Am I enough? Or am I too damn much? We've been sold the myth that success is built by pushing harder, by grinding through, by overriding our signals, right? But when you override your nervous system, you disconnect from your deeper intelligence. Creativity does not thrive here, does not thrive in survival. It needs space, it needs breath, it needs deep, deep safety. So when you regulate your nervous system, you soften the noise that tends to cloud and confuse your creativity. You return to your presence, to trust, and to choice. Suddenly, you have access to a next step that is not driven by panic, but rather it's fueled and led by alignment. Success here becomes an expression of coherence, not of compensating from fear. So if you feel stuck or scattered, we can start by tending to the body. Not as an afterthought, but from the core structure, the foundation. Because the real truth is, you do not need to force your way into success. You need to feel your way into safety. That's where your deepest creative power lives. That's where your magic roots, and that's exactly what I want to help y'all connect to today. So in this video, I want to help you reframe success from a performative act to a deeply connective experience of presence. Because the truth is, if your body doesn't feel safe, your success will always feel like a threat to you. And if you're like me, you fear success because of this. So if you're new here, my name's Kev. I am an award-winning furniture designer, and now I help ambitious creatives become more emotionally intelligent so that they can build a successful, aligned creative business from the inside out. So let's just debunk the first myth that most people think success starts in the mind. It doesn't. For ambitious creatives like you and me, it begins with your nervous system. Because your capacity to be able to hold what life presents you is what determines whether your success sticks or not. It's as simple as that, but it's not easy, right? So the problem is we begin to think that we are unmotivated, unambitious, or undisciplined, uninspired, you name it. I hope you're not those things, but chances are, rather than those, you're just dysregulated. So no strategy is going to work when your system is in survival. So how do we reframe this? We need to understand that success is a somatic experience. It's not a mindset. Success has an energy, and it's felt. And our performance does not dictate our energy. Our energy is going to dictate our performance. So we need to reframe from the performative aspect of what we think we need to do in order to be successful, and learn to embody the presence required in order for this. The game is a long haul, right? Embody the presence required to continue showing up at depth day in and day out, regardless of circumstance or outcome. Because that is what makes us wide and deep to receive the gifts that life is trying to present us. The biggest shift for me in learning to cultivate success was really deeply feeling that success has very little to do with doing more, but it has everything to do with learning to hold more. For instance, to learn to deeply regulate your nervous system means I have a wider capacity to receive, to express, and to sustain my own creative expansion. A dysregulated creative will not be able to hold what they desire even if they manifest it. So if you've experienced like, man, this was everything I thought I ever wanted and it just blew through you and it just came and went, it's because you are not wide and deep enough in your nervous system capacity to truly let it hold. I know the pain of what that's like. I feel like so many times in my own life I've manifested something that felt so amazing only to realize that, quote, I wasn't ready for it or it was too soon. And again, what I like to return to is you're not wrong, you're just early, and now the work to be done is to learn how to widen, right? So the problem is most creatives are stuck. And why? I'll give you a few different reasons, but the main one that I see all the time is this sense of chronic overthinking. But we tend to think that the overthinking is a mental problem, but it's not. This is a symptom of a deep dorsal vagal shutdown. Your dorsal vagal is your freeze response. And freeze will manifest as chronic overthinking, as indecisiveness, or even just sort of numbness, right? Just being completely sort of tuned out to life. But I think that for the most part, most people struggle with overthinking and indecisiveness. So that's really freeze, or that can be like a sympathetic overdrive, like you're really in fight or flight. But for the most part, it's freeze. And so how this impacts us is we fear being seen, we self-sabotage because we've thought about every single possible outcome and we realize it's not even worth it anyways, or we burn out because we're just constantly churning all this mental energy, taking all this energy up from our body into our head and keeping it stuck there. The thing is, they're not mindset issues, even though they might present themselves as such. They're really body-based somatic imbalances, right? An inability to know what's going on in our nervous system. So any amount of success will maybe trigger this old wiring if we haven't replaced that old wiring with new pathways, new senses of safety. Now, learning to widen and deepen your nervous system capacity is not an overnight thing. It's a long, drawn-out process of learning to ground the fuck down, slow the fuck down, and breathe more. And learn to take pauses and create conscious responses to life in the world around you, rather than unconscious reactions, right? But I want to give you some sort of somatic markers of what aligned success can feel like. And these are very small things so that you know you're on the right track, right? This isn't, you know you're in alignment when finally you have a $20,000 month. That's bullshit. It's so much closer to home. So here's a few that I can speak to from my own experience. It's this sense of feeling grounded while being seen, while being deeply seen. When you can just feel calm and connected to yourself while someone is experiencing your art, your music, your deep creative expression, or someone is just speaking into your heart, let's say. You don't feel the urge to talk over them. You don't feel the urge to justify or explain. You just simply allow yourself to be seen. That's a great somatic marker that your body feels safe, it's regulated, and it can receive. Another marker that you're on the path of aligned success is you can create without a sense of urgency or pressure. A huge red flag when it comes to creative embodiment and having a sustainable path to success is, if I don't do this idea right now, someone else is going to do it and they're going to become successful. And you're right. You can count on if you don't do this idea, Life, the divine, is going to find someone else who is ready and willing to bring that idea into form, into reality. And that's okay. There's no shortage of ideas. There's no shortage of creativity. Life will always find the person who's most ready to execute the idea at the moment. And if it's not you, that is a-okay. Your work then becomes to discover why you didn't feel ready, what fears were blocking you, and how you can become more resourced to devote wholeheartedly next time to the idea that arises. Anytime there's a sense of urgency, that comes from an insecurity. It comes from a fear of inadequacy or scarcity, like there's not enough. And I can assure you, there's always enough, and you are good enough right now, despite how imperfect it might feel. When we pressure ourselves, we're really squeezing creativity out of us. And I think a powerful reframe is less pressure but more depth. How can creativity emerge rather than squeeze, right? Two totally different experiences. So next time you find yourself really urgently wanting to give something to the world, follow it, right? But also check in with yourself, like, why am I urgent? How can I get my feet just that much more firmly planted on the ground and give from depth, not pressure? This is one of the core principles I teach in the Embodied Creative Toolkit. I invite you to check the link in the description below. That really helps creatives give their gifts from the world from a deep sense of presence rather than pressure. Another great marker that you are somatically aligned for success is that you trust spaciousness. You trust slowness, and you are driven by desire instead of force or need. Trusting spaciousness is so powerful, right? Think of it in a conversation. When you can be connecting with someone and you can trust the space between you two or the silence and not need to fill it. In regards to creativity, you can trust the spaciousness required for you to really incubate and create this idea and give it form, and even the space between you expressing yourself and it landing with the person. Can I trust the spaciousness? Can I allow that spaciousness to actually be a sort of container for more magic and energy to amplify the gift giving? And for slowness, can I trust that slow is fast? That success is a long game, that overnight success is a fucking lie. It takes a tremendous amount of nervous system work to be able to hold any amount of success. And overnight success will blow you out. And so let your success evolve as you expand from the inside out. As your depth, your presence, your radiance, your energy expands, your success will expand to meet the edges of that container. So trust that it's a slow process. Trust that everything good is built on slowness. And for desire, to separate your neediness from authentic desire. You might think that you really need to be successful and embody that. But learn how you can reframe the grasping, the reaching, the neediness into an authentic, sort of heart-open, heart-forward desire. One of my favorite quotes is a poem inside of this album. Gosh, what's it called? It's called Hoka by Nako in Medicine for the People. And it's a spoken word poem by this woman, and I don't know her name. But she says, "I will only ever love you with my hands tied behind my back, because I'm going to love you heart forward. It's all I know." And that's so fucking beautiful as it relates to love. And because life is love, I think success is no different. Success is heart forward, right? And so when I can just be in the desire of what I crave is you. What I crave is this impact to success, impact on the world, and what I crave is this depth of success, but I'm gonna do it heart forward. I'm not reaching, I'm leaning into it because I desire. That is a hell of a lot different than trying to take it and grab it, right? And lastly, another marker that you know you're on the path of aligned success is letting each little success feel good in your body. Because when you don't feel safe, you might experience success and feel lack inside of that. You might have your best month yet and be like, fuck, I need to make more. Or you might, really connect with someone and immediately feel like you need to self-sabotage. It doesn't feel good, right? So letting success feel good in your body, all those micro moments. You had a great coaching call. You had a great client meeting. You just got paid, like, ooh, get yourself a coconut water and really just sit in the sun for an hour and be like, yeah, that felt great. Let success feel good to you. So now some of the deep inner work that really works, that'll help fuel these things. And again, this video can go on for hours and hours and hours. So I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot of quick practices and experiments, right? The first of which is daily nervous system hygiene. And this is going to sound extremely simple, but I guarantee you this is going to help you create a strong structure and foundation to expand your capacity to receive success. Breath, touch, slowness, and stillness. These are really the 4 pillars that need to be integrated into your life as a creative. Breath being the most important in my eyes. Really learning to deeply breathe throughout the day, returning to your breath, is going to help you become aware of where your nervous system is, what state you're operating inside of, what your emotional texture is, breathing deep and realizing, ooh, like I have a little bit of kind of like angsty frustration I need to breathe through and move through, or just kind of like, bah! Do whatever you got to do, go for a run, like breathe deep to feel like, oh, like I'm actually like I'm a little in my head right now, I'm a little anxious. How can I come down into my body, be more here? Touch is a huge one. Just meeting your kind of heart with some pressure, like putting some resistance and some force. Even though these are funny words I say not to use, this is kind of a paradox, right? To meet that kind of like heart with a little bit of pressure, to kind of feel into, oh, like my neck, my jaw, okay, I'm holding some tension in my jaw, how can I massage that out, how can I really feel like my legs, I always grab my knees, it's like, how can I love my knees right now? Touch is very, very grounding and helps us get into our body. And then again, the slowness. Just slow the fuck down. You don't need to cook dinner at Mach speed. I find myself, I'm getting much better at it actually, and I'm stoked. But I used to like be in the kitchen and be so fucking fast. It's like, no, what if I take 15 minutes to chop that garlic? As I'm cooking dinner, so what if I eat a little bit later? I mean, I like to eat early, yes, I get it. But slow the fuck down. You don't need to just chug that cup of coffee. You don't need to run to the bathroom. You don't need to talk super fast. Just slow down. And stillness. Give yourself at least 15-20 minutes a day to be in silence, to go on a walk and not say a word, or just to look at a tree and look out the window. I'm so grateful I can see the ocean when I look this way out the window, and I'll just look. Sometimes I'll just lose myself for 30 minutes. Well, find myself actually. I'll just look out the window for 30 minutes. Not even process a thought, just look at the waves crashing. And that is so deeply nourishing to my nervous system. And then some deeper work, right? That is deep work because it's simple, but it's not easy, right? There's such simple things you can do, but we find how we don't prioritize those. But some more juicy work is tending to your inner child artist, that little inner creative that has a wide range of emotional expressions, but who is truly the artist inside of you, and whatever work that's required to really tend and love to that, whether that's trauma repair through, working with a therapist, or whether that's resourcing safety through someone else's nervous system, right? Or on your own behalf, but whether you're with a friend, or processing with a guide, or a mentor, or a coach, or just being held by community. Or if you're self-sourcing your own sense of safety, communing with nature, going in the ocean, going for a walk, listening to your favorite song and dancing, whatever it is, being able to tend to that inner child, to be able to use movement as a form of mobilizing emotion and stuff that's stuck deep in your nervous system and your system. And lastly, some creative rituals, right? Creative rituals that invite not just like a stimulation of your creative capacity, but kind of evoke a sense of regulation. So something that is nourishing and intentional to you. Every Sunday, after dinner, maybe I like to get the charcoal out and I like to light some candles, listen to this album, and I like to make some artifacts. I'm going to go through as many pages of this sketchbook as possible and just do some architectural, quick gestural drawings, something that allows me to feel safe being in deep expression that I can count on, that's consistent, So the daily nervous system hygiene, tending to your inner child artist, doing any trauma repair and resourcing the safety that you need, and then creating some creative rituals that your body can depend on to feel safe in deep expression. And so to sort of recap this experience of nervous system regulation being truly wealth and being where success starts, it's really needing this reframe that success is a felt sense. It's not really a performative act. We think that success is a mountaintop, but it's not. It's an inner state of being congruent with your values and with what your body has the capacity for, Regulated creatives are powerful because they can stay present with the success and fully receive it. They don't deflect it. They don't blow it out of their system. They learn to just hold it, receive it. Like receiving a compliment is a great marker. Can you just receive someone's compliment with spaciousness, not needing to give them a compliment back? Now, it's great to give a compliment back, of course, but can you just look that person in the eye while they say that you're handsome and just say, thank you, and receive that fully without looking away, deflecting? That's a great marker if your body is really expanded to receive, So what if your next creative leap really isn't about doing more, but instead learning to feel safer in your own body? If that's something you crave to cultivate, I invite you to check out the Embodied Creator Toolkit. The link's in the description below. That's a great resource to really cultivate a wider, deeper, and broader nervous system so that you can cultivate success. And I would love also if you subscribe to the newsletter. That's a great free resource where you'll get updates on all the happenings, but you'll get weekly stories and juicy insight that I don't share here. And of course, please subscribe to the channel because I'm stoked on sharing this with y'all. So thank y'all for being here. Super grateful to share this with you. Let me know how it landed in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!